Welcome, Mr. Abdullah, to Brew with Abdu.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Heading directly to the main question. KuwaitInsides.
Yeah.
Why did you start this page?
It's an interesting story, actually. KuwaitInside was founded probably 2019. It was called Kuwait 965, actually. Then it was called Kuwait Masaha. 2 years ago, we changed the name into KuwaitInside. We founded it actually to start a classifieds page, where you wanted to sell used cars, apartment you have that's for rent.
Right.
That's how we thought a business model would be. It was supposed to be 4 or 5 people. Me and my sister actually founded it, and 3 other partners. Along the way, everyone kept pulling out.
Right.
The last 2 years, where we stayed, just me and my sister, and inshallah, it blew up. It's something we're very proud of.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
So tell me the journey, like the ups and downs. How did you make the past 5 years?
What happened, actually, you needed people to run the account. At the beginning, we didn't know what to do with it, where to get these ads from. We actually built an app. Even right now, if you go to the email, you'll see that it's, if you click on the email on the Instagram account, it's going to show you appmasaha@gmail.com.
Okay.
So that's how originally what was supposed to happen. We even talked to a couple of developers. We even have a few UI screens that are there. But that idea slowly fizzled out with COVID and, budgets coming up that we had to spend on. Along the way, where, let's say, the climax or the shift that happened, where it actually turned to KuwaitInside, was around maybe 2 years ago. It was called, if you scroll way back, it was Kuwait Masaha News, and there are some screens and news that had that on the artworks.
Okay.
I think it was 8 months ago or maybe 9 months ago, where I decided, let me do it something like Loving Dubai, where it has to show a name at the biggest screen. I did the logo on Canva very quick.
Right.
And I think that was a turning point for the account, where the first thing you see is Kuwait. We even started, I think, Egypt inside. So just to show you a bit of expansion over there.
Wow.
But ever since we did that change of the name and actually spent on actual content, we have 2 to 3 content creators that actually write up the content every day. It's me and my sister that we actually send DMs to the person. That's the news you should post. That's something you should post. And they just translate it, create a really cool artwork and post it. We had a couple of issues with the wording of some of, for example, the government sectors, how the municipality, these type of things. We had people working for us in Egypt, but they didn't know how to call Baladia and these type of things. So we found a bit of struggle, but alhamdulillah, now we have a good solid team here in Kuwait that actually handle it, and their job is to post on a daily basis, even on weekends, cool reels, random stuff, and it just snowballed into something bigger, where people were tagging us, collaborating with us. We have a lot of collaboration requests that are, we didn't expect people to collaborate with us, but some content that we actually can't really repost doesn't really match the standard that we put in. I think we have a long way to go, but alhamdulillah, it's on a totally different level than what we expected.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
So is this your primary, it turned out to be your primary business as of now? It turned out to be like a full-time job for you?
It's a 24/7 job technically, because you wake up in the morning, you check the DMs, you go to sleep at night, you check who contacted you, who posted.
In terms of income?
Income, it's not really that income, as long as right now it's covering its expenses.
Okay.
So there's nothing more from our pocket being put in. Keep in mind, the first 4 years, it was us spending probably 100 to 100 KD a month from our salaries, just to see how this would work out. We were actually throwing everything on the wall and see what sticks. But alhamdulillah, this actually seems to be the right way to do it. But right now, financially, it's covering its costs, and that's good enough for us, no more. And that recently happened, I think, beginning of the year, in January. That's when everything slowly started to pick up.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose behind this? What drove you to start this page?
Actually, it was a friend of mine that I used to work with. He used to talk about how expats in Kuwait, for example, us Kuwaitis or people that have lived in Kuwait all this time, they know, for example, if you want to get your, I don't know, your bags or shoes repaired, there's a place in Jam'iyah where you actually go, and any Jam'iyah and co-op, and you know how to do you give them like a KD or 2 KD, and they'll fix your shoes or whatever strap that fell down. Another thing is for them where to buy bread or khubz. You know, there's bread that's 100 fils, 200 fils in all co-ops. If you're a foreigner that just landed in Kuwait, let's say a teacher or someone who works in these big corporate companies, they don't know about these type of things, you know.
Right.
A bit of also info on the iqama issues, you know, where to renew your ID, you know, how right now with the whole biometric scan type of thing, where to go and get that done, how to book an appointment. So that's the actual main purpose of the account. We took it from there and slowly snowballed it into something bigger.
So COVID was just around the corner when you started this, right? It was maybe like 1 year later COVID hit.
Yes.
Did COVID in a way help you grow organically even more than it should have? Because everybody was home, everybody was on Instagram, and they wanted news every day, like what's happening in Kuwait. Did that drive it?
Honestly, no. Because it was a totally different business, different concept. We pivoted a lot as a business model. COVID times, I think it was we probably posted during 2020 maybe 30 posts. That's about it.
Oh,
because we were in the app phase. You know, should we do an app and classifieds? We still wanted to sell to expats or English speakers. COVID didn't really have an impact on KuwaitInsides. Probably took a backseat until with everything else was the main focus. Yeah.
Right. So what sort of marketing do you do in terms of growing organic? Right now you're at a stage where everybody probably knows what KuwaitInsides is, but in the starting phase, what marketing techniques did you use?
It's strange to admit and maybe embarrassing to admit, but we had to post, you know, these viral videos, the funny ones, you know, someone, I don't know, a tiger, you know, out of a car in a street, you know, down Kuwait City, these type of videos that would probably be shared as often as possible. We tried to do a couple of, let's say, engagement posts that were, let's say, give us your idea or your opinion. Of course, in a way where it wouldn't be offending anybody, let's say, any government sectors or these type of, let's say, institutions. We tried these were really engaging, and you do get a lot of comments, but we have a lot of videos that, you know, strangely you don't expect them to actually be a hit or give us good reach or follows, but they actually do. Yani, for example, there's a mosque that we promoted, a new one that got a lot of views. There was a video about, I think, how many oil barrels per minute does Kuwait fill?
Okay.
Per minute or per second. So there's this video of like a huge funnel, and I think petrol or oil fills this tank,
right.
And that got around probably 6 million views or 7 million, and it's surprising. But it's really cool. That gave us really good reach,
right?
And it's nice to see how much, let's say, followers you get from a certain post, because Instagram gives you all of these analytics.
Right, right. So what is your background? Is your background into marketing originally?
Yes. I studied MIS, which is Management Information Systems.
Okay.
From Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, nice.
And came back to Kuwait. But actually, strangely, while doing Management and Information System, which is computers and business, my dissertation was brand awareness through social media. So I had to write this 20,000 words on Instagram and why do people follow social media accounts of businesses. It was the days, I think that was 2011. Instagram was literally 1 year old when that happened. So I was always picking anything that's related to social media and marketing and these type of things. Came back to Kuwait, worked in Al-Ghanim Industries at Exide. Then I moved along to Tri-Carriage as, let's say, when it was a startup. And then got into Trolley after that. And right now, I'm working in marketing with Abraj Water and the Regency Hotel and Low Fat.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of work you're doing. I also heard that in Abraj, you helped them grow their sales by 20x. Is that true?
Abdulla, yes. With the apps, precisely.
How did that happen?
Luckily, it was COVID.
Please note down, right?
Yeah, luckily it was COVID when that happened. We launched an app where everything was shut down. We launched an app that wasn't really that, let's say, user friendly. If someone remembers how the old app looks like, it wasn't. The buttons were all wrong. There's too many buttons to click through. So I came in during, I think, April or March 2020. We developed a totally new app in a year. We scratched the old app, launched a new app, and alhamdulillah, yani the sales are doing amazing. It's e-commerce is the way to go.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So is that the only thing that helped grow the sales, or did you do something in the marketing as well?
Of course, the basic marketing that you have. Yani you have to pick the right influencers to promote. You need to get the right sales offer from the sales team. Which channel to use, sponsored ads, all of these type of things. Linking the ads to the actual app, linking the ad to an actual offer on the app. There's a lot of things that had to be put into that, and the right amount of spending, in a most efficient way, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you stay up to date in your KuwaitInsides, because it's kind of a journalism page, right, about Kuwait and GCC for most parts. How do you stay up to date in the trends? Like, constantly you have to look after the news, the information they keep coming. So do you have a team that looks after it? You do it personally?
Like I said, I do it with my partner. We look at we follow all the news channels, anything cool that we share with the content creators, and they actually create the post. It's fairly easy. You just have to be tuned into social media,
right,
and pick what you think would be relevant or would be beneficial to our audience.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you share some of the campaigns that you've run in Abraj? Some of the campaigns that you ran.
Let's say we launched alkaline water. You know, when it was sort of a trend a couple of years ago. We launched a product that it's 1.5 liter bottles, where it's a perfect size to carry at the gym, to carry if you're walking around. You know, that's a product that we actually promoted. A cool thing that we actually use to promote these products is we always use the news channels. I'm a big activist for the news channels. I think that really helped us out with Abraj sales. For example, the Kuwaiti news channels like Al Majlis, Mnawa News, Chabrit, all of these type of things.
Right.
KuwaitInsides could be the English versions of them.
Right.
But these do very well for us. If you want noise to be put out there, that's where you should go.
Okay, so the social media news channels or the paper news channels?
Social media news channels.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I prefer the actual, for example, if you have Al Watan or Qabas or these type of news channels, doing it on social media would be more more impactful, I think, than actual print. Unless you want to target a 50-year-old, which is also good enough. It's also an audience, actually, for Abraj water, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
anyone who's a household person, who's the head of the household, would buy water for the whole.
True, absolutely. And these pages, these news channels, they can pick campaigns from any company or anyone who's giving them, or they scrutinize which ones to pick?
I think they're all happy to get any ad they want. It's the same thing with us. So you DM them, you find their contact, you ask them, okay, I want to do an ad with you. How much do you cost? You give them, this is the content I want you to post. If they're okay with it, they'll post it. If not, it's fine.
Right. You also run a bakery.
Yes.
So this is completely new. It's completely different from everything that you've done in your life. So please explain the journey.
So the bakery, I don't run it personally. I just try the food, and that's something I like to do. I have my partner, actually, whose name is Ahmed Abdu. He's the managing partner of Bakes Bakery. And yeah, it was a journey, actually, to know how to run an F&B business. We thought it would be, let's say, easy, but it wasn't. It was a lot of learning curves that we had to go through. We started in 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
It was us sitting in an office. We used to work together in Tri-Carriage those days. We decided we need to open a restaurant. We might as well do it. So he came up with the idea of the bakery, and I came up with the idea with the name. So yeah, that's how it actually snowballed. And we did it ourselves, alhamdulillah.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Is it a delivery only or it's a restaurant?
Right now we have 3 or 4 branches.
Okay.
Our main branch is probably in Abiyat, you know, Abiyat, the showroom.
Yeah. Sure.
Shuweikh.
Yeah.
The bakery over there, that's the bakery.
Okay.
We also are in the warehouse mall. We have, let's say, a good following on Talabat too.
Okay.
We have a restaurant in warehouse, and yeah, that's the business, yani.
Nice. So
Alhamdulillah.
tell me more about yourself, like your backstory. How did everything start?
With what exactly?
Your life. How did you come today?
Well, today I think I got to know you guys through KuwaitInsides, so that's how everything started for me to come here. But yeah, I can tell you about my career, what
Yeah.
I've done, yani, and
Your school, your university, then everything else.
okay. So school, I already explained what I studied, what I've done. Came back to Kuwait, worked in Excite. Excite was a fun place to work. I was probably maybe the 3rd or 4th Kuwaiti that was on the floor, in the Excite floor. I started with them an assistant brand manager. It was fun. It was interesting. I think there my love for marketing actually started. I had a really good boss over there. I think I hit the jackpot with having a good boss. You know, having a good boss can actually make it or break it for you. You might hate the place, you might hate the whole career if your boss was a disaster. But my boss, I have to give him a shout out. His name is Ziad Zaytouni. Till this day, I still remember, let's say, the advice that he used to give me, you know, on what to do, how to, you know, it was technically my first job, you know, so I didn't know even how to write a proper email, you know. I sent an email once and I remember him, he's like, Abdullah, that's not how you send an email. If you want to put it to, let's say, your seniors, you have to write it out this way. You have to put the highest in hierarchy and then you place the rest. I didn't know that. I'm like, okay, sure, Ziad. You know, it used to piss me off before, but now I look back and it was, yeah, he's always right. He taught me a lot about, another thing that he taught me was when to speak about prices and quotations. I remember there was this one time me and him were, I think we were, our job was basically, we were in charge of anything, let's say, related to facilities, stickers, you know, branding locations, in-store branding, you know, these type of, let's say, flyers and stickers, these fixtures that you have inside Excite, how the phones would sit, the branding on them. Sometimes you sell them to Huawei, you sell them to whoever, Philips, these type of things. So our job is to control all of that and give each one their part. So we were out once with one of the suppliers and he's like, okay, I'm going to send you an invoice right now for all of this. And then I go like, okay, but don't give us this price, you know, this is too much. And he's like, no, of course not. You know, the guy was kind of a bit embarrassed. So Ziad takes me to the side. He's like, Abdullah, do not discuss prices in front of everyone. That's not the way to go. I'm like, okay, sure. You know, that's how you kind of know these tactics. But yeah, he had a lot of, let's say, pointers to give me, especially how to look at things, you know. I didn't know, for example, that, let's say, a sticker or a piece of paper had, let's say, an expiry on it, you know. It might get damaged. You need to have someone to monitor these type of things. Something is broken. It needs to be reported, you know. I think that's kind of a bit of, he had probably a bit of OCD, Ziad, a bit like me, which is also a good thing if you work in marketing, because everything has to be perfect, you know.
True.
Anything that's broken, we really make a big deal that it's not fixed, it's not reported. So yeah, I used to be run like a proper military. And that's something I took to, let's say, all of my future, let's say, jobs that I worked in. So he had, let's say, a lot of impact on me over there. Yeah. He's never heard the story, by the way. So,
really?
So I hope he listens to this. Yeah.
We'll clip this out and send it to him.
I'll send it to him, yes.
Then what happened in Tri-Carriage?
So Tri-Carriage was fun. Tri-Carriage, you know, I got a bit bored at the corporate life, so I wanted to, let me try something new. I wanted to run the show myself, you know. I wanted to put budgets, you know. I wanted to know where to spend, what to do. So I joined the Tri-Carriage when they first started. They didn't have they just had the name Tri-Carriage, but no Instagram account, nothing was called yet. So we had to set out the budget, what to do. We had one social media person and one digital marketing person. We had to create the ads. the guys actually over there hooked me with the type of restaurant that they had. You know, at that time, the USP that they had was they were the only app that had their own delivery fleet. Before, Talabat did not have their own
Right.
drivers.
I remember, yeah.
Those days. So Tri-Carriage was the first one that did that. And that was, let's say, a USP that I think they could work with and kind of enticed me to join. Another thing is the restaurants collection that they have. Those are restaurants that never delivered before.
Mm-hmm.
They had really cool restaurants, like, for example, the Peacock at the Radisson, you know, that's
Yeah.
a Chinese restaurant. Never delivered before. That's a big deal. They had restaurants like Bao, Al Makan. These were trendy places that you cannot get delivered.
True.
So they had a lot of like a combo type of USPs. So the guys over there, which is Abdulla Mtawa, he's the CEO over there. So I worked with him very closely. I joined them and we set out the budget. The budget was very small at the start. But alhamdulillah, I think the restaurant collection that we had actually gave us the bigger edge. People wanted to order from these things. And we did these, let's say, random, you can call stupid stuff that we brought in. We did a lot of mistakes at the beginning. Thank God we did those mistakes where we weren't that big.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fine to go through them and you learn from them. For example, we did a really, let's say, crappy ad at the beginning. Thank God nobody did it. Nobody saw it. It was those, Jam'iyya type of ads that you see on the screens, where it was really bad. We did those very poorly branded, let's say, what do you call them? Coasters and, let's say, tent cards.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that
stationary items.
Yeah, stationary items that you put them in restaurants. But slowly after that, the budget started to increase. The restaurants tried to come in. There was this shift with Carriage where we used to go out and pitch to restaurants to join us, and now we reached a point where it flipped, where the restaurants were calling us to join.
Right.
That's every sales team's dream, where they actually pick and choose who to get.
True.
So, it was fun. And we did a lot of interesting campaigns. The best part over there was it was just me calling the shots, Me and the team and me and Abdullah. There was no, let's say, corporate person that had to tell us no or what. So it was, we want to do an April Fool's video. We did an April Fool's video. We want to do a fortune cookie campaign, something so dumb, but it actually did very well. It did amazing. That's with Tri-Carriage. So I stayed with them for 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Launched in Kuwait. Then I learned over there a bit how to expand it to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
We launched in Bahrain, then UAE, then Qatar, Saudi. And then the company got bought by Delivery Hero. Worked a little bit with the German company.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, yani. After that, I moved into Trolley.
Okay.
Which is very cool. The funnest place I've ever worked in.
Okay.
It was, you're working with snacks nonstop. But it was really tough because that was the only place probably there's no app, no proper tracking, on.
Right.
I learned a lot in Tri-Carriage where it was, the analytics. You have to see first-time customers. You have to know what's your acquisition costs, what's your cost per order, your customer lifetime value, your retention rate, your cohort numbers. It was a huge learning curve. It was a struggle, but it was so worth it. So apps are kind of, my thing.
Right.
How to send the right push notifications, to do the CRM tools. So I go into Trolley, where it's just a retail concept that you don't know who actually walked in and placed the order. Over there, the customer order history and all of that. But it was fun. We had to set out the budget. We need to plan. So I came in, and they didn't have any marketing team over there. It was just an agency running the whole thing. They came in, brought in a couple of people to join, segregated tasks, who handles influencers, who handles social media, how to do proper tracking on transactions. It was very much fun. I think my biggest accomplishment in Trolley, as dumb as it sounds and how funny it is, but the Trolley yellow bag.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually connect the dots, that's kind of got inspired by the blue bag of Excite.
Okay.
So I said I might as well, do a Trolley yellow bag. And thank God it got approved by the CEO over there. So alhamdulillah, yani. But it's kind of sad to see it, on the street, flowing, thrown down on the street. But it's very impactful. I think it's a very, let's say, a strong brand element that they have.
So this was back in which year?
That was in 2019.
2019.
Yes, early.
Then you started KuwaitInsides.
Then I started KuwaitInsides.
Okay. After that, you went to Abraj.
Yes, in 2020.
Okay. So,
2020 with Abraj and Regency together. And recently, the company that owns Abraj and Regency, which is Abdurrazzaq Al-Sana company,
okay.
they acquired low fat,
Oh.
I think 70% of low fat back in March. And now it's under the group and, properly consolidated and managed and all of that. So, yeah, it's fun, yani.
Are you still working for them?
Yes, full time.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So right now you're doing 3 jobs.
Well, it's one job because it's one holding company, but you have people that are actually, you have brand managers in each
Right.
business. And
So what position are you on right now?
I'm the CMO of the group, Chief Marketing Officer.
MashaAllah. Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Alhamdulillah.
What are the marketing techniques that you learned throughout these years that you would like to give to our audience?
As cliche as this sounds, definitely think out of the box, but you still have to do the basics that are, let's say, part of a marketing budget. There's a struggle that I struggle with every year is when we present budgets, why are you spending this much on influencers? Why are you spending this much on digital? So you have to do all of these things, but it's the type of content that you put out. Another thing is don't underestimate the power of news channels. I think this is something important. I'm not saying this to just get an ad from KuwaitInsides, but I really mean it, whether it's KuwaitInsides or any other news account. Also, I think don't be afraid to spend. I think you gotta spend because spending, you gotta spend some money to get some money. You spend 10 KD, you want to get 100 KD back. So I think a lot of businesses or let's say new entrepreneurs, they're a bit of scared of spending, yeah.
Right. But what about the small businesses who they don't have any kind of budget, but they still want to grow and market themselves? What do they do in this case?
You can get a lot of things for free. I mean, try your luck. I'm a big believer on DMing as much influencers as you can and see who does the ad for free. And you'll get the word out there. You can create the content yourself. Even when you say you don't have a lot of budget, there's an agency that costs you 1,000 KD and there's an agency that costs you 200 KD. It's about you to direct them correctly. Anyone can give you crappy work, or both of them can give you crappy, and both of them can give you good work. And I think most importantly, you should have one person really in charge of marketing. You can't have, let's say, an agency running your whole thing. You kind of have to outsource some of the things that you have. You can't have, let's say, a full-time videographer. You might, probably. Some companies might need that. But you need to outsource some of them. But you need someone who speaks and breathes marketing for the company.
Right.
Knows the let's say, the ins and outs, knows how the operations work, knows how the sales work. This is something that actually also we struggle with my agency. Is, for example, some of the businesses that we work with, they don't have a marketing manager. They have, let's say, a salesperson who gives you the idea and you're supposed to create the whole thing. I think it's best to have someone who kind of gives you a direction, and your job as a creative agency is to create a creative campaign. And it's up to them to approve or not, but you kind of need to be led in a certain direction to match the business strategy. And of course, to see if your marketing is working or not, you need to see the numbers. Not just the likes, shares, the followers. That's not really much. It's not an indication of a successful business, anyways.
Do you differentiate between? How do you differentiate between marketing and sales?
Sales are, well, it depends on which business exactly. For example, sales when it comes to apps, for example, and for example anything that's selling something, they bring in the products and you're supposed to sell them. Marketing's job is to actually bring in money through the door or through the gateways or these type of things. Sales, they help with getting the right offers, probably getting you the right deals, the right vendors, the right products, and they have to work closely together. Sometimes there are some products that sales might think that the marketing or the audience wants, but marketing knows that's not going to do well.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference, but they should be working in the same office or in the same area at least.
So, like with the advent of companies like Shein and Temu, the meaning of branding has been lost somewhere. Like the kind of brand affiliation that you would have. I'm wearing a Zara, you're wearing a Lacoste. The same thing they're selling for much cheaper. So the branding is lost. Do you think, are we going to recover the value of a brand in the future, or is this the way to go?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm talking about like Abdullah now. My thoughts. I think, does it really matter about the brands? I think, you know how sometimes you see an old picture of yourself and you remember where did that shirt go? You know, it's خلاص. It's something that's for the moment and it goes away. I think if you're talking about fashion branding, I don't know. The shampoo you use, I don't even use shampoo, but you know, you can change it in a year. So it's not really that important. If it's actually doing something for you, I think that's important. But as branding, I think there's a huge emphasis of our brand and we should speak this way and these are our colors. But I think at the end it doesn't matter as long as the product is good and the content that you put out is engaging and you can tell that it is your content, your font, your colors, these type of things. Having this, let's say, over protectiveness of a brand and its tone of voice and these type of things, for me, I think this is all jargon. I just want to do the work. You know, you kind of have to understand your brand and khalas, you go with it. You know it by heart.
Right.
A lot of people wouldn't agree with this, but that's my philosophy when it comes to marketing. You understand it and you go for it. And you kind of have a sense of what might work and what might not. But not to overly invest in branding. And it also depends on the industry. You see how the banks and telecoms, they spend a lot on logos, you know. It's just logos everywhere. Any other business that does that, kind of pointless, you know. It's there's no actual right direct return from having your logo there. It's more brand recognition, brand awareness, might affect stock levels, you know, but it's not really that important depending on where your industry is.
Right.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of the buyer, right? They have a psychological need or, you know, someone to appreciate them that, oh, you're wearing this brand. But today's world, the value of the brand is depreciating every day. So is there a mental shift in terms of a buyer that now I'm no longer affiliated to a certain brand?
100%. I think that's exactly what's happening in this day and age.
Okay.
Like you said, Shein and these type of fast fashion brands, you know, the type of toothpaste you use. There's a lot of brands. It's not like the old days where there's like 4 or 6 in the co-ops and the Jamia. You can buy something direct to customer. You can go to a co-op. You can order it from an app. So I don't think let's say a brand loyalty is, you know, that fought for from the customer's end, you know. Maybe from the brand end, it's very important because you need to protect it as much as you can. But from the customer's point of view, I'm talking about myself, it's not as it was before.
Right.
And for example, for me, I'm enjoying wearing those, you know, those Vivo barefoot type of shoes. I've been using them for the past 2 years. I don't know, I might change them in 2 years. I might find something else that's barefoot. But that's all I wear. And I keep speaking to everyone that they're great. They really do increase your foot strength this much. So as long as it does something for you, you know, it's the best thing you can, which is word of mouth, you know, where people speak to you. You're not paying people to do it. I'm actually paying for the product and promoting it.
Right.
And it's really working.
Absolutely. Do you utilize AI tools in your marketing agency?
We do. A lot. We use Midjourney.
Okay.
I personally use a lot of ChatGPT.
Okay.
I think it makes my life much faster.
Okay.
Of course, with proofreading, you have to proofread everything no matter what.
Right.
But yeah, I think you have to.
What other tools do you use for the content creation?
What do we use? We use, let's say, the Instagram scheduler. It's Monday.com. You know, those canvas planners. We have a very good, talented graphic design team that actually does really cool branding.
Okay.
I think that's something you cannot really use ChatGPT for unless you want to do a couple of adaptations or have a proper logo and adapt it on a cup or adapt it on a let's say a packaging design. But let's say the core of that is actually designed yourself. But yeah, I use a lot of ChatGPT, and the agency does that too. I think all agencies do that too.
Do you think that adoption of AI tools in Kuwait is at par as the other parts of the world?
Definitely not, no.
No.
I think it has a long way to go here in Kuwait. But people are using it, with those voiceovers, there's this newscaster that talks, that's an AI person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a gimmick. They won't really use it, but you can really use it if you really want to. And you spend a bit of time to actually develop it and then let it loose and you tell it what to do. It can really work.
Why do you think we're still not adopting as much?
I think it's because it's not that, let's say, accessible. You got to pay a subscription on ChatGPT. Midjourney costs you a bit of money. So I think it's about probably its accessibility. And if it was a free feature, then it would have been easier. And the people that are using it are the people that would be using it. I mean, you can't expect anyone random from the street to use it. Content creators, whether they're freelancers, influencers, or whoever, I'm sure they're using it at an extent.
What I think is maybe because majority of the businesses in Kuwait are still doing transactions on a very traditional basis, and it's more physical than it's digital. And digital revolutionizing is not yet at par as the world is. So I think that's why maybe the adoption of AI is not as much, is what I think.
Could be, but I think how Kuwait is right now. Everything is e-commerce. Yeah,
True.
People are using things online, and with the whole e-commerce, quick commerce type of things with Talabat 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Those Fizz apps. There is let's say a market for it. And plus, Kuwait is a very young, let's say, demographic of a country. I think I heard something where probably 50% of Kuwait population is below 30, something like that.
Yeah.
So expect more from that.
But I think there's still a gap. Like, for example, Amazon. Companies like Amazon are not here. Talabat is mainly devoted towards food and groceries.
Yes.
But Amazon sells everything.
Right.
So I think there's a big gap in that market and that region.
But you can get Amazon here in Kuwait. People that want to use Amazon can. But I think Kuwait's behavior is a bit different, depending on the audience. Kuwait, the people, they use, let's say they buy a lot on Instagram, buy things through DM. Let's say who's our Amazon here in Kuwait? Probably Tawsil, drops.
Yeah.
They have electronics.
Yeah.
They have, I don't know, not just groceries. They have makeup. They have perfumes. They have everything you can imagine.
True.
Even training equipment. They sell that on Tawsil and these type of places.
Right.
Yeah.
So any new sources that you use in your marketing techniques?
New sources?
Anything new you came up with that was different from other competitors?
Yes. I think we used a lot of things during the Tri-Carriage days when it was... we actually take a joke way to the next level. For example, with the April Fool's jokes that we used to do, where it's a huge production. We used to spend probably tens of thousands on that video, and at the end it just doesn't mean anything. It's just we were claiming that we're going to launch sort of an Alexa type of version where you ask a device what to order, and it'll come up and speak to you in Arabic, in Kuwaiti Arabic exactly, saying that you should order this from this specific restaurant. And people really did sign up. We created even a website for that. And we got, let's say, 100, 200 people that signed up, thought that this would happen. Although we launched it on 1st of April, which is very strange. Plus the techniques that we used to use, for example, one of the campaigns we've done is, how there's billboards on the street with, I've always wanted to do this idea, thank God I did it, is we tried to, they cost a lot to actually do a billboard on the street. So what I did is I told the team, go out and take photos of all the billboards, and we got them back to the office and we photoshopped our ad on them, and then we posted them on social media. And that snowballed into something bigger. People thought that we were way bigger than what we were.
Right.
So I think that was a fun idea. And even the companies that were owning these, let's say, billboards were contacting us. Is this real? How did you get this? Is it true? And I'm like, no, it's photoshopped.
Right.
So that's one of the ideas that we did. Yeah, there's a lot of, let's say, new, let's say, type of disruptions in marketing that we try to do. Yeah.
There was a recent event in Dubai. It's called the Innovation Forum. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of them, yes.
Right. It emphasizes a lot on like digital marketing and taking your business digital from traditional. What values do you think they are putting forward in terms of Kuwait's market?
I think Kuwait's market, we have a lot to work on when it comes to digital marketing and actual, proper CRM tools that you would use. Let's say there's a lot of tools that are underused here in Kuwait, or maybe overused. For example, the push notifications thing. Some apps way overdo it, for unnecessary things. I would understand if you would do it for a CRM purpose, where someone did not order within 20 days or 60 days, you send them something and that's all done automatically. But I mean, sending 3-4 push notifications every single day, that kind of gets annoying.
True.
Maybe before that, let's say, maybe right now, I don't know if it's fine, because it seems fine from the numbers that I'm looking at, because some of the because the orders don't really change much. I would expect someone would get annoyed and delete a certain app because of this much push notifications. But right now, I think there's some okay with it. I think anyone with a mobile got desensitized right now from push notifications.
True.
The days when we used to be at Tri-Carriage, it was us that we used to send random push notification. No one was actually doing those push notifications as much.
Right.
So, yeah, I think using the right tools, the right, let's say, the right analytics to show you how your app is performing, that's something that's very important. And there's a lot of tools out there that actually should work on, let's say, Arabic apps. Yeah.
How do these small businesses get educated in terms of digital marketing? Because it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's everyone's requirement.
Yes.
So how do you think they should be educated? What's the first platform they can go to?
YouTube. Of course, YouTube is a place to learn. I use YouTube a lot, for podcasts, for learning random stuff. You can Udemy, for example. I learned how to do digital ads myself through Udemy. I bought a course for, I think, $12.
Yeah. I have a lot of courses pending there.
Yeah, me too. I have the same. Yeah. But yeah, the ones that I really needed, they really did work. And they don't cost much, and you can do it yourself. Or you can find a consultant, You can speak to someone, get, let's say, get some expert advice on what to use, but also shop around on what tools to use. Right. There's a lot of out there, but some of them don't really do what you want. Some of them really work, but they don't even support any Arabic functions.
You were talking about the billboards.
Yeah.
I think there are only two major companies cutting each other's throats all the time. Do you know something about that? Why are they at each other's throats all the time?
No, I don't think there any competition on them. I mean, everyone, let's say, this is how it works. Each one owns a governorate with the ads there. So who do you advertise with? Do you want Kuwait City, or do you want, for example, the ads for, let's say, Fahil or Jahra? Depends on who your audience is. So everyone tries to sell you their ads, their ad space. Yeah. Or do you want the petrol stations? That's the third company that has the petrol station.
Right.
So you need to get, let's say, a proper booking agency to fight for these numbers, but you got to be spending a lot. Or you can contact them directly.
But I keep hearing them that they keep fighting for the big businesses, the big sharks in Kuwait. They keep fighting it, and it's very dangerous to do that. They go on a different level. I don't want to talk about it on camera.
No, I remember. Let's say we used to be like that when it was let's say in carriage, and we used to spend a lot on outdoors. Our budgets were amazing. Trolley, we did that a couple of times, but you got to sign with an actual proper, let's say, booking agency. There's a lot of these agencies, like for example, Starcom, Zenith Media. They're all based in Dubai. These companies that have a big, purchasing power. They work with the big telecom companies and a bank. Each one has a bank brand and a telecom brand.
Right.
So, and they have a couple of them. So they have a good person. So you kind of have to affiliate with any one of these, and they should get you the best deal and get
Right.
you free stuff too with them.
Right.
But of course, they take their own commission, but it's definitely worth it. But I remember, yeah, that used to happen a lot. They used to, you know, who gives us the best rate, who gives us, let's say, free stuff, these type of things. But you're talking about spending in hundreds of thousands, you know, a year.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the game, you know, for the big sharks.
True.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you think you see yourself in the next 5 years?
إن شاء الله يعني consulting.
Okay.
Back to consulting, يعني not really running in a full-time main job. You never know, never say never. But yeah, that's where I see myself having my own consulting marketing firm,
Right.
and we handle a couple of brands. That's how I see it.
Nice. All right. I have one final question.
Sure.
That I ask almost all my guests because I keep forgetting some.
Sure.
What is actually one of the guests asked me this question, and
Yeah.
then I keep asking my guests, what is success to you, and what is failure to you? Because the guest who asked me this, he's a leadership coach, and he told that the answers for both are different. What's not success doesn't mean that's failure. So I need two different answers from you.
So what is success? I think success is being content with where you are. I think that's something important, and always striving for more.
Okay.
Failure, I think, is not believing in yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's a huge failure. I think anyone can do anything. As probably that's sounds again very cliche, but I feel like if you put your mind and head into something, you can do it. Whether it's getting, I don't know, a university degree, a master's, an MBA, PhD, getting fit at the gym, you just need to put in the work. And yeah, that's, I think if you don't have that, I would consider as a failure.
Sometimes in life, it's difficult to believe in yourself. Situations get really tough. How do you overcome that?
Positivity around you, you know. I'm a big believer in God, صراحة. Honestly, يعني, I think you should pray, or even people that are not Muslims, يعني, they should also look at their higher power.
Right.
And let's say, see the light at the end of the tunnel. And plus, take action in even things that you are, let's say, tired of doing, or you don't want to do anymore. You just have to take action and surround yourself with probably the right people, the right environment, the right podcasts, whatever. Let's say whatever podcast, or let's say music that you listen to has to be positive.
True.
So if you have all of that around you, then I think it's that's how you pull yourself out of that.
Absolutely
and it takes time.
amazing.
Yeah, Abdulla.
Almost everybody have asked this question, and when the question arises about self-belief, they always say that surround yourself with the right people. At a certain point of time, I thought that was not important. That you could still survive and become big and succeed in life,
Yes.
even with the wrong people around you. But later on, I've come to know that right people are absolutely important in life.
True. Very true. I'm a big believer in that. And plus what you consume. The right foods, you know, there's some foods that are good for you.
Right.
There's the right music you listen to, the right podcast or whatever news you listen to, it all affects you.
Right.
Yeah.
So they should be listening to Brew with Abdu
Of course
podcast.
they should. And my episode, precisely.
Precisely this episode. Mr. Abdullah, it was lovely talking to you.
It's a pleasure.
I had a really fun time.
Thanks a lot.
Learned a lot of things.
Thank you, Abdu.
Thank you for being on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure is ours.
Thank you.
Alaikum salam.